Good morning, guys. This is Bit Informant here. I just want to go over a few charts and show you some of the altcoins I've been looking at. And we have to look at Bitcoin to start because Bitcoin has had a tremendous breakout. So on my screen, let's look at the Bitstamp price. We can go all the way out to the daily chart. And I was tracking this kind of like cup and handle formation here. It's arguable if this was a cup and handle, but I mean it kind of fits. You have this slump in here, it falls, and then you have this little handle right here, and a little fake out, and then it just slams through the resistance, this red line here, this resistance line. Now on the daily chart it's looking like we're forming a little pennant or something. And the fact that Bitcoin broke out such strong penetration through this resistance, it's looking really bullish for the next, I don't know, days to weeks, months at least. So let's zoom in a little bit on our scale. And it looks like we're consolidating. Here's this bottom line here where my cursor's at. That's that trend line I was showing you earlier. And it looks like we're pulling out into like a kind of like a pennant here. We have a top and bottom resistance line here, so I'm just kind of following this morning, and this is a 15-minute chart. So it looks like we're going to break out in, I don't know, an hour to maybe a couple hours here. We'll break out most likely up, but if we do break down bearish for Sunday, we should be looking at coming down, I don't know, maybe coming down all the way and retesting this line at 2,900. I think that's the more unlikely scenario. I think the more likely scenario is that we kind of bounce around here and push up a little more. So that's Bitstamp. If you're curious about the OKCoin quarterly futures market, I have the 15-minute chart up, and we can do the same kind of thing. We can zoom out to the daily, look at it. So you have to adjust these scales as you zoom in, because I have my scale fixed. So you can see there's kind of like a cup and handle formation here. And there could be like the neckline. It broke out. You see this big, let's see if I can get my pen here. You got this kind of like cup and handle thing going on. So it's kind of the same. So that's the daily chart. Let's look into the 15-minute pattern, what I've been following this morning. Especially last night. Let's delete that line. Oh, gotta get my cursor here. So last night actually I was trading this this trend line right here, this diagonal, waiting for it to lift off. But as it started testing, it tested it once, almost twice, 3 times, and then it tested a whole bunch of times right in here, this upper resistance line, which it finally, once it broke down and broke out of this bottom red line right here, this is where I exited my position. That's where my stop was set, and now I've been kind of waiting here, waiting for this possible inverse head and shoulder to form. I can just draw it in here. I mean, it kind of looks like we have an inverse head and shoulder right here, but it's a pretty loose one. You got a decreasing volume profile. That looks pretty good. So we're building up resistance. Here's a long-term trend line. We're building up resistance between these trend lines, and like I said, from the Bitstamp chart, we're most likely going to go up, but there's always the down, so always prepare yourself for that. Don't get blinded by your bias and your bullish outlook. So as a trader, you need to be prepared for both situations. Alright, on to some altcoins. Well, first of all, before we go to altcoins, I want to say that if Bitcoin continues to rocket upwards towards, $5,000, well, most likely altcoins in terms of Bitcoin price will not be able to track that, because their fiat value would rise ridiculously. So even if some altcoins, go down slightly in terms of Bitcoin over the next week, if Bitcoin is really bearish, or if Bitcoin's really bullish, and we're looking at 5,000 target or something. Well, even if Bitcoins decrease in the price of Bitcoin, sorry, I'm saying that right. Even if altcoins decrease in terms of Bitcoin, then their USD value or the fiat value will probably still rise. So let's move on to some altcoins here. I've been looking at ANT shares for several weeks now, and this is a pretty exciting chart. So I'm just going to move this off right here. And we were following, I have a couple of videos out and some Steemit posts about how I was following this consolidation right here. And it was consolidating right around this, 50% Fibonacci mark. So right in that region, you can see where it was forming the pennant, this flag pennant of the previous diagonals. So these diagonals, you had a big run up, the price consolidated between the diagonal lines, and I started noticing this pattern right around here, and I started positioning myself right around the 50% Fibonacci line, so right around 0028 or so. And this was a beautiful breakout, and I was telling you guys we had news coming out on August 8th from the NEO team, and that was regarding their upgrades and their new rebranding to the NEO platform. This is going to be a big one. I expect it to come test this all-time high right here, 0.0054, and then probably pull back for a little while, and I expect a bullish outlook for the future. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's switch over to our favorite altcoin, and that's Bitcoin Cash. So Bitcoin Cash opened up, had a huge pump because there was no supply on the exchanges. The only people who could sell their Bitcoin Cash were people who had Bitcoin on the exchange prior to the fork. So those are the people who sold that Bitcoin Cash. And there's no supply on the exchange, so the price just keep pushing up and up. Now, as people are withdrawing their funds from their ledgers and their private keys and sending Bitcoin Cash over to Bittrex, we're looking at the Bittrex chart, by the way, well, that price started falling as you got tons of selling coming in. And then finally, it looks like we've kind of bottomed out around this 0.06 area. And I'm waiting for it to show a little more sign of a bottom, because I have a little bit of Bitcoin Cash on Bittrex right now that I've been hesitant to sell. I just didn't want to sell into this whole thing going down. So I don't know, but we have to look at fundamentals here, and the fact that Bitcoin Cash is free money to sell for a lot of people. So just because the technical analysis says that this is bottoming out and it looks like we're going to reverse and go up, the fundamentals can override that at any point, and people could start selling again, and here we go down. So not quite sure about Bitcoin Cash right now, but all eyes are on Bitcoin, and that's the big daddy here. So alright, let's move on to BAT, Basic Attention Token. So I've been following this one also for a while. I've watched its ICO, and I watched it sell off in the initial addition to the Bittrex exchange. It just sold off in this falling wedge pattern for a month or two. And then it finally broke out, reached a bottom. It's been testing this 3,500 Satoshi level. It's hit it once right here. So I'll just draw some circles here. It hit it once, twice, 3 times. It looks like you had a capitulation candle. Someone's sold off a lot of their shares. So yeah, it looks like it's bottomed out around here. Enough accumulations happened. I would expect this to slowly rise over the next few weeks and come up and test this region out up in here. So I don't know. That seems like a reasonable target on Basic Attention Token. Ooh, Elastic. Let's move to Elastic. Elastic had a really big couple of days here. So, Elastic came out. That's XEL. It launched. What are we at here? I think July 3rd or something. It was launched on Bittrex, and I remember looking at it, and I naively bought around up here in like the 15,000 area. And then it kept falling and falling and falling and falling, and it finally bottomed out here around this 5,000, 6,000 Satoshi area. Take a little drink of coffee real quick. Yeah, so it finally bottomed out here. I got it in a little bit more, around 8,000 or so, and then it kind of just went sideways for a while, and then all of a sudden, in the last several days, it started just rising, and it's broken through, and it's actually broken through. Actually, it's just matched its all-time high from when it launched. So right there, I'm just. No, I thought I had a horizontal line. So there's the horizontal line, and it also looks like it's forming, you know, you can see this cup and handle pattern if you look. Let's put a horizontal line right here. So it looks like, here's this red line I drew, it looks like it's forming another cup and handle pattern. Comes up, hits this level, this blue level resistance again, right around 16,000 Satoshis. Comes back down, makes a handle, comes up, and then hits up and slams right into this upper resistance line. And for cup and handle formations, what you really want to look for, you know, an average estimation of the height it's going to reach. You draw a line from the, you know, the neckline of the cup and handle, this blue line, and you draw it all the way down to the base of the bowl, which is, you know, it's a subjective area. You gotta, it's just a mean, it's an average, it's just an indicator. You can put that right at the top, and we're looking at, you know, elastic will probably wind up somewhere in this range. If we can pierce through this, we might come back down and test this 16,000 area again, depending on how Bitcoin does. That's all of my analysis so far really depends on how Bitcoin does, because if Bitcoin jumped up to 5,000 in the next couple days, which is unlikely, but it could happen, well, this chart could go down, but the price could be rising in dollars at the same time. So you have to keep in mind there's two different mechanisms playing. There's an altcoin, there's its conversion to Bitcoin, and then there's the conversion to USD. So it just depends on what you're looking at. Another one I want to just really look at pretty quickly here is ZEN Cash. ZEN Cash has also been forming this downward consolidating wedge, and that's, for every time I've seen this pattern, it's a bullish pattern. Once it finally breaks out, and it broke out pretty strong here, even printing a daily, on the daily chart, printing a daily confirmed reversal. I could see this coming back down a little bit more, retesting some lows here, but the downtrend seems like it's over. And yeah, we'll keep your attention on ZEN Cash and look for an entry right in this. I don't know, that's 150,000 Satoshi area. Might be a good place. So yeah, keep an eye on that one. I want to I want to look back at DigiByte, because I've mentioned that one several times in the last weeks, and we're still on track. We still have our daily confirmed reversal. We noticed we started buying in, and it's been consolidating in this pennant. Everything's consolidating right now. We'll just have to play it out and see how this goes. You know, a bullish situation would be we come back up here, test, and go up. A bearish situation would be break below and come back and test this bottom here around 430 Satoshis, see if that holds. So keep an eye on this one. I'm holding my position until we break out of this trend line here. So yeah. And switch over to Zcash. Zcash has been, for lack of a better word, a real stubborn little chart lately. It's just been falling and falling and falling. I mean, that fell, what, 60% or something like that since its peaks up here. Hit some double top up here after a huge rise, and it's just been really falling. But the thing to notice about Zcash is you look at, see how it really falls right here. It's kind of the same kind of fall. It bottoms out right here, you get a spike, and then you get this huge buy up of volume, and then we go for a huge ride up, huge spike up. You go over for a while, you know, it does fall a little bit more, but nowhere near what it did before, and then you get this huge spike up in price. Here's another big buy up. You get a pretty good spike up. Now the question is, we have this big falling wedge type of deal. It's not really a wedge, it's just a really steep sell-off. And it came from all the way down and tested this lower Fibonacci. and that's holding so far. So I'd really keep an eye on this one. I'd wait for this volume. We're gonna hopefully see some volume here, and if we see a nice buy volume bar spike here, you know, probably somewhere out in this region, then I think we're looking to go higher. But I'm waiting on that one. We'll see about that. It all depends on what Zuko starts, or Zuko starts tweeting, right? His tweets, sometimes investors in Zcash aren't the happiest to hear what he has to say, but I'll leave opinions out of that. Let's move on to Ethereum. Ethereum looks pretty good. I thought it was going to fall further down. We're looking, let's go to Ethereum BTC on Poloniex. So here's the daily chart. You see here's the ICO launch, and we've gone through this big peak, and it fell, and now we're at this even bigger peak. You can zoom in a little bit more here. So yeah, actually a few weeks ago I expected Ethereum to fall further down, probably into this region here, as a lot of people did. But it looks like we found, looks like a pretty solid bottom has formed here. So I'm not saying it's reversing yet, but with Bitcoin being pretty bullish right now, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ethereum go up. Because honestly, people who are just getting into Bitcoin now, my friends calling me now are like, they're buying Ethereum because Bitcoin's going up. So that logic right there tells us that, you know, looking at this technical analysis and we see that a nice bottom's forming, there's no reason why psychology is not going to push this up. So keep an eye on this one. All depends on what Bitcoin does. All the charts depend on what Bitcoin does. So yeah, keep that in mind. Alright, I'm going to leave you guys with that one. I'm going to pop over to CoinMarketCap real quick, and we can see that the Bitcoin dominance is still under 50%. I'm not sure if we ever rose above 50%. Let's see here. Yeah, we did. We hit like 50.48% for a little bit there. And as you guys know, the Bitcoin dominance really fell off over here, and a couple months ago, as altcoins just boomed. And really, if you look at this chart, it's Ethereum and Dash that are really, you know, that they're such big players, and their increase in market cap really took away from the dominance of Bitcoin's market cap. But I always give people a word of warning with market cap, and the fact is market cap, I don't know, that is the amount of coins in circulation multiplied by the last price it traded at. So, for example, I could release Bitinformant token on some, maybe on the Ethereum platform, and has 10 million coins, say, and I sell one of those coins for $1. Well, the market cap all of a sudden is $10 million because the last trading price is $1, and there's 10 million tokens. So you multiply those two, and you get $10 million market cap. Now, is that real? No, it's not real. That doesn't mean Bitinformant coin is worth $10 million. I mean, that's its market cap. So the market cap doesn't take into account any liquidity at all. So you have to keep that in mind. So yeah, let's go back to the market cap and check that out. So the market cap number is this one I'm talking about, if you're not familiar. That's just this number multiplied by this number. So the point being is that the dominance is organized by market cap, which certainly doesn't take any liquidity into play. So it's you have to take that figure with a grain of salt. Oh, before I miss it, I wanted to also do GAM. Let's look at GAM BTC. Now, Gambit's kind of it's a different altcoin. It has it's a deflationary model altcoin where, based on the success of a certain trader, and depending on the funding of, you know, certain affiliate links and referrals and ICOs happening within the Gambit token, those exceeds, or the profits from all that work is put into buy orders and putting support into the buy side of Gambit token on Bittrex. And the coins are purchased, and those coins that are purchased are sent to addresses that cannot be recovered. So we call that burned. So those coins are removed from the supply, and that creates a deflationary model over time. So I mean, I can't remember how many coins there are right now. Let's just check that out real quick. GAM. So right now there is about 1.189 million coins. I believe the starting supply was around 2 million, so there's already been 50% of the coins decreased, or sorry, burned. Those coins can never be retrieved. So over time, people who hold GAM will hold a larger and larger percentage of GAM as time goes on. And that will increase your stake, and hopefully as the success of GAM continues, then those tokens will be worth even more and more and more. Now in terms of TA, we've had a large run up in the price of Gambit token, but recently on the daily we had a failed confirmed reversal here. I don't know if you guys can see that little X there, but loosely speaking, we've been, you know, kind of following this falling pattern here, falling triangle. I mean, it's pretty subjective drawing these things, but you see we kind of consolidated in this diagonal pattern here and had a really strong breakout of that. And then it's almost like we came back and retested that again. So I don't like this big sell volume here, but this is one to keep an eye on. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen next, but I'm holding my GAM, and yeah, we'll see. Alright, so I covered that. The last thing I wanted to do is show a lot of people don't know where to find charts and really good metrics and statistics about Bitcoin. So one of my favorites is coin.dance. This has a really good charts and statistics and information about Bitcoin. So for example, you can see the, oh hi Trill. You can see, that's my dog just came in. You can see the volume, and you can see local Bitcoin's volume, all sorts of exchange volume. You can go in and see local Bitcoin's volume globally. For example, you can see, look at the increase in volume. You can go look at the network health. You can see all the different forks and the nodes being run. You can see statistics. I'm not really sure what's under here. This is always a fun one to show. I mean, you can see the gain in Bitcoin over the last, what, today, 7 days. Yeah, look at that percentage gain. We're at 12% in the last 7 days, 30% in the last 30 days, 218% in the last 6 months. Yeah, you guys get the point. So, pretty fun stuff to look at. You can get lost on this website looking at stuff. Here's blocks. So you can see what's happening with the blockchain and all the statistics, the hashing power, all that stuff. So yeah, definitely check this out. Another good one to look at is blockchain.info. If you click on the charts, you can see pretty much the same information, just displayed in a different way. There might be a few different things here, but definitely check this out if I were you. One thing that's going to be unique to this is the number of Bitcoin blockchain wallet users. So blockchain.info also has its own wallet. You can see this tab up here. And they have a statistic showing how many wallets have been open over time. And I just clicked on the all-time chart down here. So look at that. You have a lot of new customers coming in. A lot of new people opening wallets. So definitely something to keep looking at. Alright guys, well I'm going to wrap it up there. I talked about the altcoins. I talked about some charts to look at the health and status of the Bitcoin network, so you can see the growth for yourself. Anyways, if you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel. I should be doing these at least once a week, just giving you guys an update. Please like, it helps get the video out there to other people. And you can look at steemit.com, and I have some stuff going on there. And thanks for listening. If you have any comments, please leave them below. If you have any opinions or comments on how I can make the video better, I'm pretty new at this, so I've only done a couple videos. Leave them below. If you didn't like it, please don't just like it and not tell me why. Tell me why, and I can hopefully make it better for you next time. Alright, thanks guys. I'll catch you next time.